Before I begin this video, I just want to say shout out to this man for making me this. It is truly beautiful, and I would highly recommend watching his Twitch channel. Link will be in the description. But anyway, I'm back from my slumber. Okay, for the very small percentage of you guys who saw this video, Voyage of Despair. This is F. This is F. I don't want to explain. I don't want to even go like shit Easter egg, shit layout, shit weapons, shit engine, shit everything. You might be confused as to why I am praising this map now. But ever since that video, I actually started playing the game a lot more on PS4, and I bought it on PC and started playing it here too. The two maps that I played the most were Ancient Evil and Voyage of Despair. And I have to tell you, I was wrong about this map. Now, I'm not going to say that this map is an S tier map and it goes through above and beyond, right? It has its issues. It has a lot of issues. But it is a far cry from this franchise's worst, trust me. The best way I can describe Voyage of Despair, Tog, Blood, and all the other maps like them is that they are a failure within their foundation. They don't fail in game design per se, they fail in their purpose. For example, Blood of the Dead objectively is not that bad of a map, but in its purpose, which is a remaster of Mob of the Dead, it fails miserably. This makes it so that your perception of the map is completely controlled by the perception of the destruction of the foundation. So if you're not bothered by Blood of the Dead being a terrible remaster, then you would enjoy it. The same thing could apply to Voyage of Despair. Voyage fails in trying to juggle two ideas at once. The first one is the main theme of every single Chaos map, which is using the Sentinel artifact to change the surroundings around you to fit a certain mythological pantheon. So, for example, Dead of the Night is based on European folklore, Ancient Evil is based on Greek mythology, and this map is based on Norse mythology. The second idea that it tries to juggle is the Titanic, a setting home to one of the most tragic events in human history. Now, this on paper is a fantastic idea, but its execution is truly horrendous. In terms of the Titanic, they wanted to make it look as real as possible, and they have succeeded 100% in that. The map, especially on PC, is gorgeous. But see, most of the time in gaming, trying to make something as photorealistic as possible does not always yield the best gameplay experience, especially in Call of Duty games. One example I can think of is Modern Warfare 2019, where the scenery is so good that it makes it difficult to see actual players. And the problem that Voyage of Despair gets is that it yields a terrible map layout. As a matter of fact, I think most of the problems that people have, like the Easter egg and the high rounds and shit like that, is rooted in the terrible map layout that this map has. The map layout is confusing. And that's its biggest flaw. It's extremely confusing. I have been playing this map for over 2 fucking weeks, and I still get lost sometimes. Why are the teleporters in this map more confusing than 5's teleporters? Why is there 1 teleporter in the cargo hold and 3 teleporters in the engine room? Why is there a teleporter in this part of the map? Why does every room look the same? Why can't we swim in the ocean? Really, the only way to enjoy this map is to get used to this layout. Otherwise, man, you're gonna have a hard time playing this map. Oh, and by the way, this also indirectly ruins the other thing that they were going for, which was the Sentinel artifact thing. When you look at the other Chaos maps, you would see that the setting helps in reconstructing the map into a certain mythological pantheon, like the 4 temples in 9. But in this map, the only relations to Norse mythology are the planet step and the boss fight, which is something that you don't know at face value while doing the Easter egg. You have to look that shit up. All this shows how much this map has been held back by combining these two ideas together. These two ideas individually on their own are amazing, but combining them together is like putting a chocolate bar in a pepperoni pizza. Say you change the setting from a commercial Titanic ship into a gigantic cargo ship similar to the Crew Expendable mission in Call of Duty 4, and this cargo ship has a bunch of relics from Norse mythology to be sold at an auction or something. Hell, you could even make it so that there's like a bunch of cargo ships coming in together and make the Sentinel artifact like create jump pads and shit to just like jump from ship to ship That would have made it for a really cool map layout. You can also add in a bunch of Norse weapons into this map, something that is heavily needed. Now, it's not like I hate the Kraken, I do like it, but it's just I would have preferred to use something like Odin's Spear, or Heimdall's Sword, or Thor's Hammer. It all goes to show that this map is a great example of how endless potential could still end in a flop. In this case, destroying the foundation of the map, which is the map layout and the map concept. And when you destroy the foundation, the structure will start to crumble in and out of itself. But like I said in the beginning of the video, it all depends on how much it bothers you. To me, it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. And that made me realize that I was over-exaggerating on how badly designed this map really was. While the layout is pretty bad with how confusing it is, once you understand it, it's not nearly as bad. The doors aren't that expensive, you can open up the entire map by round 5, and the 2 buildables that you need, the shield and the ammo dispenser for the Kraken, are pretty easy to get. Speaking of the Kraken itself, you can either do the free Kraken Easter egg or you can get it out of the box. A feature that I believe has to be in every single map in Zombies. The Wonder Weapon has to be in both the box, and there should be an Easter egg for you to get it. And the Kraken in and out of itself is a pretty fun wonder weapon to use. Granted, I feel like the upgrade for it is kind of required, but it's not like upgrading it is that difficult. And once you do upgrade it, it is incredible for the bosses on this map. Speaking of which, the bosses on this map are honestly bad. They're kind of bad. I don't personally have that much of a problem with the Stokers, and even the Blightfathers to a degree. But what I do have a problem with are the Catalyst zombies. There's the water one that buffs zombies' health. Then there's the poison one which stops you from regenerating. And then there's the fucking lightning one that blinds you. Then there's the napalm one that takes over half of your health. Now you can deal with them to an extent, but at some points they can literally kill you. And to be honest, that's the only complaint that I have with this map, other than the layout, obviously. So let's talk about the Easter egg. I have attempted this Easter egg a lot, right? And a lot of people think that this is one of the worst Easter eggs ever made. I can't agree with this. I genuinely can't. Every single Ether Easter egg in Black Ops 4 is worse than this Easter egg. Every Cold War Easter egg, with the exception of Mauer and the first Outbreak Easter egg, is worse than this Easter egg. And the steps that people complain about are heavily over-exaggerated. The first one is the clock step, where you have to find 4 clocks in 6 locations and get 2 inputs out of each clock. And you have to change 8 dials to fit your 8 inputs. How and why people hate this step when there's so many steps that are significantly worse is beyond me. One step that comes to my mind which is significantly worse than this step is the valve step in GK, where you have to adjust 5 valves to get a cylinder. In this step, you have to do one of 3 things. You can either memorize every single 5-digit code, which by the way is 30 codes, or you can test your luck and input 5 random digits and hope that you get it, which by the way has less than a 0.4% chance of happening. Or you open up your browser and go to chronarium.com, which is what everyone does every single time they complete this Easter egg. And look, I love Garat Krovi's Easter egg, but don't you fucking dare say that this step isn't bad. It is. It's a bad step. And how there's so many Easter eggs that have bad steps, yet they're still considered good Easter eggs. Now granted, one of the things that Voyage has is that it's a pretty difficult Easter egg, which could be a turnoff to a bunch of people. And this Easter egg is hard even with Winter's Wail as your modifier. But I personally love that it's difficult. It makes it more replayable for me. And man, you can't talk about the Voyage of Despair Easter egg without talking about the boss fight. It is so good. A 5-stage boss fight that is intense in a good way, and it is one of the most satisfying endings to an Easter egg. And this adds to me liking Voyage way more than I used to. It is right now one of my favorite maps in Black Ops 4. It is a map with endless potential missed, yet it is still an incredible experience, at least for me. Alright, let's go back to my slumber.